All right, welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, StarCraft late night fans. Good to see so many of you tuning in here for the IEM Sao Paulo Qualifiers. The winner of this goes on to fight against HuK in the semifinals, and the winner of that will actually qualify to be flown out fully paid and by ESL and all that stuff to go represent in Brazil. But spawning here in the lower right corner of the map, we've only just stepped into the series. We did not cast games 1 or 2, but it is playing for Fnatic, their only North American player, hellokitty. I don't have the Twitters ready because we jumped into this rather abruptly.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, it's EG's HuK.
So we kind of joked around about this before we got into this. Well, actually, quick side note, guys. The winner semifinals are either going to be a PvP or TVT on both sides. So get your mirrors ready. That being said, PvP is a very rough matchup. Like, people often say like Zerg versus Zerg can be the most volatile, it can be sometimes the most unforgiving, but I kind of feel like that's how PvP is. Like, the units in this matchup are so strong, losing one can be devastating.
Well, it definitely used to be that PvP was the most, but, you know, it has definitely evolved to a point where maybe someone saying they're really good at PvP is no longer something to, like, scoff at or laugh at.
I know, like, there's who else other than like Elfie could you say like is like the god of PvP, right? No, everyone else is just like, no, I hate this matchup.
Yeah. Actually, that's apparently the reason that show stopped being Protoss, amongst other things. But the one thing he complained about was PvP.
Yeah, there's a you know what? Actually, I think what makes this the most unforgiving too, on top of whatever we've discussed, is like, no matter how good or bad you are, this matchup probably has the highest risk for a build order loss than any other matchup.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, that's oftentimes why you see like probes come out early, because you need to scout, you need to like hover around the nexus, do some loop-de-loops, and make sure you know exactly what's coming your way. But neither player has chosen to scout. Both kind of turtled up in their base for the time being. Sadly, we did not get to see what happened in the previous series, so we don't know if something's provoked this, if they just played like this the entire time. But one thing out of HuK that's a little bit different than hellokitty, he's hidden a pylon over here, and typically when you do this, it's to put like a Twilight Council or the Stargate way over here.
Yeah. Luckily in this matchup, they have reduced the amount of build order wins/losses because you do have at least 2 ways of getting detection, and usually the DT was the biggest build order loss. I mean, if you straight up went Twilight Council, of course, you're still going to lose, but if you also gone Stargate, you also lost in Wings of Liberty. And speaking of which, we do see hellokitty put down a Twilight Council really, really early, so we could definitely be seeing those DTs.
Even if it's not for Dark Templar, I really do like Blink. I think Blink is, in my opinion, probably the safest opening in this matchup. Because if handled correctly, it can do anything quite well, other than sit back at home. Because if you do go Blink and your opponent goes Robo and you just don't even touch him, he's going to pull ahead in a big way. Now, HuK has actually opted to play for the Nexus here. This can be a little bit risky because oftentimes, again, one unit can make the difference in this game, and if there's a 4-gate coming his way, that's 4 less Zealots, 3 less Stalkers he has available to him. But with the Sentry here to force field off the ramp, he's ready for anything, including Dark Templar, which are going to be coming out of hellokitty. Now, what I mean by that, of course, is the force field does not provide detection, but HuK probably knows the timings pretty well in this matchup. He's a very well-seasoned veteran in this game, and he knows, all right around the 7-minute mark, keep an eye on that ramp, make sure nothing shimmers, and if it does, I throw down to force field immediately.
Yeah. Proxy Pylon is already down. I mean, his Mothership Core was pretty close to actually getting over there to maybe even see the probe, but actually, I think it was on the right edge right before the pro put it down. So really lucky timing for hellokitty right there. Of course, a great thing is to be able to get that unscouted, as well as, you know, actually getting the pylon up. Simply because if they scout a proxy pylon, they're going to be saying, okay, well, what are you doing? There's definitely something going on. And we see that Hallucinated Phoenix is on the way. There's nothing here to stop it from being scouted. Like, that one stalker is not going to be enough. Dark Shrine's just about to finish, but again, with that force field, he's just going to know to look at the ramp, and he might, you know, take some damage on the Nexus, but that's it.
He's already pulled the probes out of here, too. I love this move out of HuK. He's going to be for damn sure nothing bad happens to him. Now, Zombie Gab, I know we're working off a delay and we can't address this right away, but guys, so you understand, Pulse versus QX, he's playing already while this is going on. There was no capability to cast that. We'll be casting the winner of that versus Major afterwards, for sure. But for now, is either sit around for like 20 minutes, twiddle our thumbs, or get game 3 of some awesome action.
He's pushing down. He has an observer, so he can go ahead and push down. Sentry's still not the greatest thing in the world for tackling DTs, but that should be enough. We'll see a War Prism come out.
Well, one Dark Templar is moseying on out. Oh, I
It's
missed
like War Prisms in TVP are really effective, but like the observers are really fast.
I really like warp prisons for late game PvP. Like,
Yeah, for
what
sure.
one of my favorite moves to watch. Like, honestly, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, of course, but I love watching the Colossus Wars when one player wraps around the warp prism and just warps in some zealots like right on top of the enemy's Colossus. Oh, it's so brutal to watch. But Hello Kitty's actually gonna use this to elevate her towards the main. A cute move because of course
Yeah.
HuK is watching the front of his base, thinking there's no way anything got past that observer, and this is gonna cost him some probes. Oh, he saw the shimmer. Look how good. Oh, HuK, you're so smart. But that's if HuK wins this series, by the way, HuK versus Puck, that's gonna be fun to cast. Like,
Oh, I know, right? DT at the natural release is getting some damage. That's what Hello Kitty wanted. Like, he wasn't going to get any damage had he just gone to the front, so at least he did something by having that War Prism, but it's still not going to be a whole lot. It actually goes back again with the DT. The Observer's already there, though, so a total of, what,
Ooh.
seven workers killed for 3 DTs, though?
even forces out the overcharge though on top of this, and a lot of force fields have been utilized. It's hard to see that that was economically worthwhile, but I think to an extent, I mean, you're putting HuK on edge. He's not going to want to play it casually. He's built cannons in defense because of this. Like, I don't know. I think that was, I think that's kind of worth it. Like, it didn't get him an edge by any means, but puts HuK on edge, which is kind of worth noting.
I mean, give him about enough time, obviously, to get up his own macro going on behind this, and of course, the Dark Shrine doesn't cost nearly as much as it did. It used to be like a really big investment, so when it failed completely, it was pretty bad. But DT expands are now a common thing in all matchups, so it's not so bad for Hello Kitty. Really, what he's lacking right now is not economy, but just like tech. But he's already like bringing back. He's already getting his own immortals and stuff like that.
Yeah. While we got a small pause and the Phoenix has got to Scott, I do need to welcome back War Battle 12. Resubscribe to the channel. Thank you for your continued support, man. And of course, don't forget to ace Kate on your way out. Now, unfortunately for Hello Kitty, everything's revealed here with this Phoenix Scout, but that's not it's not unexpected at this point. I think once you get to a certain point in PvP, you know that there's going to be constant hallucinations. There'll be observers on the map. You shouldn't really be playing the sneaky game so much as like the strategic game.
As surprising as it is, Hello Kitty was completely scouted, and it was pretty pretty well held off. There you go. The probe count's very, very similar, and Hello Kitty's up in supply, so HuK might have been stalling on probes for a little while there, or just the fact that he couldn't do anything to return the damage, and Hello Kitty already made up for it has already happened. But
well, you got to remember
it's actually Hello Kitty's in the lead.
Well, HuK did have that earlier Nexus, which played into helping keep the probe count stable despite losing some to the Dark Templar, on top of the lost mining from running back and forth. But again, he's going to jump ahead in the base, taking his third right now. Hello Kitty doesn't look to be even considering that, though, as he's producing Colossus. He's going for upgrades. He's not so far ahead that it's going to be like a crazy victory, because, of course, HuK's got some nice defense here through the Immortals and the Sentries, but he is leading in army supply.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be enough to actually push in and win, of course, but it's surprising to consider that DT opener, though scouted as well as it was, just simply pretty much normalized the game, even though HuK got that Nexus up so much faster. The War Prism goes down unnecessarily, in my opinion. That could become useful later.
That was just running away too from auto attacks. That wasn't even being like controlled away. I wonder what Hello Kitty was focused on while that was happening. Because unfortunately, that loses a lot of counterattack potential. I mean, for HuK, now he doesn't have to worry about like 7 Zealots suddenly cropping up in his base as he moves out for the first time.
Yeah, it's exactly. So definitely could have been worthwhile to keep that alive. Unfortunately, it does go down. I mean, it's technically only minerals, but it is 200, so that's still a little bit of an investment. But if they're on 3 base, then generally that's the point where they just start, not minding 200 minerals here and there. Phoenix hallucinations have been constant from HuK, so he has all the details. And the game is very, very even. The supply is just surprisingly so.
I'm loving our chat's rationalization of that probe pull earlier against the Dark Templar, by the way. The only reasoning being that this is HuK North. You guys are terrible but awesome. This is why I love Twitch chat. I would hate doing this for YouTube casting because you wouldn't get that extra level of interaction and silliness.
Oh yeah, especially with YouTube chat now. Like, I don't even understand it.
Oh god, no one even comments anymore. It's like, use your Google Plus account. One big difference that I got to point out in this matchup so far is the fact that Hello Kitty has gone for Colossus and extended Thermal Lance. He's got Archons, he's got Charge. The weapon upgrades are somewhat the same, but HuK actually lacking that third element. I'm wondering if he's going to recognize that he's so far behind Colossus that starting at this point would be worthless, and instead go for Stargate and some Tempest. But no, as I say that, he just threw down the Robo Bay. So perhaps not realizing just how far behind he is in that regard. I mean, these
Well,
Colossus are going to be hard to contend with.
Yeah, definitely. It's still at a point where neither player can really push in and win because HuK, he doesn't have Colossus. He has, a good number of Immortals and his Archons. They can definitely hold their own.
Oh, nice
Warprism from HuK. There's a cannon there, so it didn't do too much.
Yeah, but it takes out the cannon now, so it comes back later, no problem. Meanwhile, using this time to actually push into the third, you can try and put force those down, but of course the Colossus will break them due to being massive units, so will the Archons. So a little bit useless there from HuK. Oh, if he could have sniped the base before warping out, that would have been amazing, but unfortunately forced to recall. Does save a majority of his units, but comes back for round number 2 in the mineral line. And of course, there's a cannon being rebuilt, but it's not done yet. Both players, well, actually, HuK with superior weapon upgrades to the Zealots right now. He is leading in that regard, albeit by seconds, but still, that's more than enough.
Yeah. Still not a whole lot of damage, but it is pulling him apart. So the third, had he not had to recall, if he just maybe left, he would have definitely come in at that point and finished the Nexus off. But he also got really good scouting. So of course he noticed that the Colossus count was higher than his own, and he actually started 2 robotics facilities. So he is going to really come up quickly for that and be at very even army supplies. I mean, and army composition too. Like they're both going to have Archons, Immortals, and Colossus. Although the Archons are from different structures, so it ends up being the same.
Yeah, it's a heavy gas investment one way or another. It's just one is slightly less heavy than the other. HuK is moving around the map with some Zealots, though. I think he's trying to make sure that there's no extra bases that have been snuck out this whole time. hellokitty and him both on 3 bases at this point. We're going to see this awesome clash of the late game. Now, when it gets to this scenario, I got to tell you, Zombie Grub, Colossus Wars are fun to watch, but they're a lot more micro-intensive than people give them credit for. Those laser beams, the way they cone out is really, really precise. You have to be careful with the way you position an engagement. Because of that, because of how annoying it is to control. Ooh, hold that thought. We do have a warp in here to the south, or that run by, I should say. Gonna get chased back. But because of that, you actually see some Protoss players nowadays adapting Tempest into their army. They do, of course, do the bonus damage versus the Colossus. They're considered air massive, but I'm a little shocked that neither player has chosen to go down that route. I was gonna say road, and I said route. Anyways, made up new words. What's up?
Well, I think they will eventually, but they're already going to be maxed out in what they have, so it's really oftentimes something that's a desperation move to see really early Tempests, and it can sometimes work for sure, but generally something you see a little later on as they start going on to 4 bases and such. Still only on 3, and hellokitty is looking to push in. It's just so difficult to push into a Protoss player. Like, sometimes you can get him, caught out in the middle of the map, and you get the better concave or whatever. Oh, hey, probes! Did you mean to do that? They gotta be meant to do that.
I don't know.
Oh, he did. Those were like 9 probes, and I brought him back down to 62.
I guess maybe
versus 65. That seemed to be on purpose.
Well, one way or another, it does clear up a lot of army supply for HuK, who's now maxed out once again. Actual unit compositions look a little bit better for hellokitty. He's got that 1 extra Colossus. The engagement, though, definitely looking a lot better for HuK. His positioning is so good. He's got a couple hallucinations in this. He's trying to walk away from that cliff so he can draw the Colossus forward, but he's not fighting with any of his actual ground units, and the Colossus are in full retreat. There's a lot of Zealots on the top of the cliff that are not involved with the fight, and this is actually looking pretty rough.
He lost a lot of units trying to retreat right there. Like, yeah, it might have looked great for him there, but, I thought he lost more there than just willing to stay and fight. And, of course, hallucination's not going to do very much at all. The Observer...
The positioning HuK took, though, was really nice. However, as you said, he lost a lot doing that, and it might have been just a little bit too much. Now it's 5 Colossus to 2. I've seen players like Mana come back from situations like this. I wouldn't count HuK out yet, but it's not looking good for him.
No.
Oh, third base under attack, too. Oh, he got gutted. That's not. Yeah. That's like, okay, you're in trouble now. 39 probes killed by hellokitty so far. Good game's gonna be called, and hellokitty will go on to fight PUK in the semifinals.